Now, hello and welcome everyone, I'm Patchwork, and I wanted to go ahead and cover some of the newer additions that have been added to the DevBranch since my RotorLib overview video. Now, firing from vehicles has definitely been the main focus point of this update with the community, and though I will be going over it, I'm really wanting to make sure that the other fantastic features have been given just as much of our attention by the end of the video. Now first, a very interesting and appreciated feature is functional skids. Now contrary to what Arma has been running previously, skids are made of metal, not solidified nitroglycerin. Skids in real life are very functional at, you guessed it, skidding. Now I went ahead and tried this at different vertical and forward airspeeds with the MH6 Little Bird, and I've successfully landed multiple times, I should add, at speeds as high as 150 kilometers an hour with no damage to the airframe. Now to contrast this with DevBranch, I usually limit myself to 40 kilometers at a maximum when considering doing a rolling type landing. Now with all that said, 150 kilometers an hour is probably not a speed that any of us pilots are going to be landing at, but in the end, it gives us a lot more we can work with in different situations, which at least for me is highly appreciated. Now before we go on to firing from vehicles, let's go ahead and cover the benches themselves. Now previously you couldn't choose which side you got on without a script or a mod. However now, can you not only choose if you're on the left or right side of the helicopter, you can choose which position on the bench itself. Now an example of where this might be useful is a recon deployment. Now not every location allows you to touch down fully, so being able to allow units to jump off from a particular side of the aircraft has its advantages. Now much like this clip, a recon team could easily load up just on the left side and jump off the bench onto the desired area without having to land and possibly not leave enough room or be stationary for too long. Alright, I think we're ready to start heading into firing from vehicles. Now firing from the helicopters is now possible with the lighter airframes, which consist of the AH-6 Little Bird and the WY-55 Hellcat. Now honestly, it works exactly how you would expect it to, with minor bugs here and there, but that's to be expected since it just released on the DevBranch. Now the Little Bird is arguably the best airframe when it comes to urban insertions. However, there's been a slight problem with actually trying to use it as such in the past. Now the reason why is a good portion of the time you do an urban insertion, there's a good possibility of enemies being right around the corner. It's not very fun to be riding on a helicopter with protection equal to that of paper and not being able to defend yourself. When doing an urban insertion, there's a rather big window surrounding the touchdown where you're moving at the slowest speed in the entire approach. Now at this time, the AI are at their most accurate. Now I've heard concerns that it might be too difficult to even hit anything for any of this to matter, but from what I've experienced, and as you can see, it's really not that difficult to aim. And if you have an AI script that allows suppression, you can at the very least suppress the enemies quite effectively. Now firing from vehicles is also available for land and sea vehicles. On the land, it would be the Hemet transport truck as well as the more civilian-oriented pickup truck. And for your sea-based vehicles, the assault boat has the option as well. Now this next topic is not available on the DevBranch, but I wanted to bring it to your attention if you're not aware of this yet. Bohemia Interactive is going to be adding a stealth variant of the CH-47 Chinook airframe to be available in the Helicopters DLC. Now I have no doubts that this was added to give the NATO units a heavy airframe for the newly added sling loading. Now sling loading is also another feature that is currently available for testing on the DevBranch, but unfortunately not for me. I was planning on getting some footage of it, but due to a bug, it was not working properly for me, so I couldn't end up doing that. Unfortunately, I would have to make another video in the future if I want to cover that, but I think the more fun option would be to go download the DevBranch right now and test everything that I've talked about so far yourself. Now the last feature I want to cover in this video is the new sounds. They've added new sounds for some of the helicopters, and for this video I went ahead and recorded some of the sounds from the MH6 Little Bird. Now keep in mind that this still is DevBranch, so some tweaks are most likely going to be needed before it's fully released. For instance, the Little Bird without the engines on sounds like it's one good kick away to the side of it to make it disassemble into pieces. But I'm going to go ahead and stop talking for a bit so you can listen to the audio changes. That will be the end of this video. In the meantime, feel free to check out my other videos, but until the next one, I'm Patchwork, and welcome to the war.